Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are opening up a source file that looks at first glance like it's going to be about food.
Right.
The title is simply 21 Dondurma, which is Turkish for ice cream. But as we started reading, it became pretty clear we aren't really here to talk about chocolate or vanilla.
No.
We are here to talk about power.
It really is a study in power dynamics, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a fascinating piece of writing because it takes something so innocent, a frozen treat, and uses it to map out the entire anthropology of childhood.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
We're looking at scarcity economics, social hierarchy in a schoolyard, and the complex unspoken contracts between parents and children.
Exactly. And I think the reason this text grabs you is that it highlights a fundamental truth about being 5 years old.
Which is?
You are broke. You have no
Right.
resources. You can't drive to the store. You are completely at the mercy of what the author calls the sponsor.
That's the perfect term for it. The author makes this distinction early on. As an adult, if you want ice cream, it's a trivial transaction.
Right. You just buy it.
You have money, you buy it, you eat it. It's calorie management. But for a child, specifically the child in this memoir growing up in Turkey, ice cream is a prize. It's an award.
And because you can't get it yourself, the person who provides it, the parent, holds all the cards.
All the leverage.
And, do they use that leverage? The source material outlines what it calls the strict laws of consumption, and these are not suggestions.
No, these are rigid statutes.
The first one is pretty standard. Don't eat too much at once. Fine. But the second rule, this is where I stopped and had to reread the sentence.
You're talking about the lukewarm water mandate.
The lukewarm water mandate, it sounds like a paradox. Here is a cold treat, now immediately neutralize it with tepid water.
It does sound counterintuitive to the culinary experience, but from an anthropological perspective,
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense within that specific cultural context.
Why?
The text explicitly links this rule to a fierce maternal anxiety about the tonsils.
The tonsils seem to be the main villain in this child's life.
They are the point of vulnerability. The mother's logic, and this is a very specific type of protective logic, is that the cold shock of the ice cream will inevitably lead to inflammation.
So the water isn't a beverage.
It's a medical countermeasure. It's the antidote.
It effectively ruins the joy, though, doesn't it? You have this creamy, cold sensation and then swish, swallow warm tap water. It feels like a tax on happiness.
It is a tax, but it reveals how parents operate. To the child, this is just an annoying hurdle to get the sugar. To the mother, the ice cream is a loaded gun pointed at the child's immune system.
So she allows the risk.
But she enforces the safety protocol. It's care, but it manifests as control.
But the narrator finds a way out, and I love how this is framed in the text. It's not a medical procedure, it's a jailbreak.
The tonsillectomy.
Yes. The author writes about having their tonsils removed in the 2nd grade, and the way they describe it is hilarious. They don't say, I had surgery to improve my health.
Now, they say something more like,
I removed the leverage my mother had over me.
it's diplomatic immunity. The text says, I became exempt from the laws. It's such a profound shift in the power dynamic.
You remove the organ that gets sick, you remove the fear.
And if you remove the fear, the rule about lukewarm water just collapses. It's a brilliant example of how children navigate these adult systems to find freedom.
So the narrator conquers the home front, they get the tonsils out, they are ready to consume ice cream freely, but then the setting shifts.
Yes, from the house to the school.
And suddenly there's a whole new set of rules that have nothing to do with health and everything to do with logistics.
We enter the era of the school canteen. And this is where the text gives us a masterclass in artificial scarcity.
The mid-April rule.
Right. The author describes this rigid seasonal restriction. In this particular school, at this particular time, ice cream simply did not exist in the canteen until mid-April.
And the narrator is furious about this. They write with this genuine, lingering childhood anger.
Oh, yeah.
Who invented this rule? Who decided ice cream can't be eaten in winter? They want a name, they want to speak to the manager.
It's the arbitrariness that frustrates the child. But think about what that restriction does to the value of the product. The text mentions waiting months and months.
That waiting game turns the arrival of ice cream into a huge cultural event.
Exactly. If the canteen sold Magnums every day of the year, nobody would care. But because it arrives in mid-April, it creates a frenzy.
The description of that first day is just chaos. The text talks about endless lines during recess.
Around the bank.
but for sugar.
Yeah.
But here is where the deep dive gets really interesting. It's not just about buying the ice cream. It's about the gamble embedded in the stick.
The Badava phenomenon.
Badava, which means
Free.
this is a brilliant piece of marketing that turns a snack into a lottery.
For anyone who doesn't know, you buy the ice cream, you eat it, and then you check the wooden stick. If you're lucky, the word Badava is stamped on the wood.
And you trade that stick in for another ice cream. The author breaks down the psychology of this moment so perfectly. And it's not just win or lose, it's a complex social flow chart. Let's talk about the blank stick first.
The author calls this the peaceful outcome.
Which is surprising, right? You'd think a kid would be devastated to lose.
But the text explains why. The crowd disperses. If you get a blank stick, the transaction is over. You ate your treat, you enjoyed it, and now you're free to go play.
No further obligation.
But if you win, if you get the Badava,
Then you are in trouble.
you enter what I'd call the winner's burden. The moment you raise that winning stick, the social hierarchy of the playground just reorients around you.
The text is so funny here. It says, the jerk you hate becomes your #1 best friend.
It's instant toxic popularity, you have leverage, but then comes the guilt. The author describes the friend who has no money.
They don't beg.
No, they don't ask. They just give you the puppy dog eyes.
It's the silent stare. It's weaponized pity.
Exactly. And the narrator is keenly aware of the pressure. But the real crisis, the moral crisis, comes if you have siblings.
The sibling tax.
The sibling tax. The author writes about this unwritten rule. If you have a younger brother or sister and you win a free ice cream, you are morally obligated to give it to them.
This part broke my heart a little bit. The narrator has this internal monologue where they are just screaming at the universe.
Yeah.
Why? It was my luck. It was my throat that ate the ice cream. Why does the result of my luck belong to him?
It's a deep philosophical question about ownership and destiny, isn't it? It shows that for a child, the concept of fairness is often in direct conflict with property.
The system forces you to be altruistic, even when you desperately want to be selfish.
And it paints the playground not as a place of play, but as a place of, like, high-stakes diplomacy. You're navigating envy, charity, and familial duty.
All while holding a sticky piece of wood.
Exactly.
So we've covered the strict health laws at home and the cutthroat economics of the school, but the source material takes a turn in the second half. It moves away from the stress and goes back to the narrator's earliest memory.
The origin story, if you will, and the geography changes here. We leave the school and go to a Mezra in Sivas.
A Mezra.
It's a hamlet, a tiny settlement, smaller than a village. And the text specifies no buckle, no grocery store.
Which is crucial.
Very. If you want a cornet, you can't just walk down the street.
This brings us to the logistics of the Wednesday tractor.
The Wednesday ritual.
Yeah.
The father drives a tractor to the district town once a week to sell cheese and buy supplies. This is the only link to the outside world of commerce.
And the narrator explains the dilemma perfectly. They're about 4 years old. They want ice cream. But to get it, they either have to wake up at dawn and ride on a bumpy tractor for hours.
Or stay home and sleep.
And being a 4-year-old.
The narrator chooses sleep, which puts the entire burden of logistics on the father.
We have to really picture this. It's summer in Anatolia. It's hot. The father is driving a tractor, not a fast vehicle back from town.
And he's carrying ice cream.
It's a race against thermodynamics.
It is. The author asks us to imagine the state of that ice cream. There are no cooler bags mentioned. It's just the package, the heat, and the slow chug of the tractor engine.
This sets up the core memory of the entire piece. The narrator is home, playing. The parents return. They call the child into the kitchen.
And this is significant. The text notes that this is before the younger sister was born. So there is no sibling tax. This is a moment of pure, undivided attention.
The mother opens the freezer, and she pulls out a chocolate cornet.
But look at the description. The text says it had clearly melted during the tractor ride and then recovered in the fridge.
Recovered. That is such a polite way to put it. We've all seen refrozen ice cream.
It's deformed, it's lost its shape, the texture changes, it gets icy and crunchy instead of creamy.
It's objectively a ruined product.
By any culinary standard, yes, it's a failure. But for the narrator,
It's perfection. The way they describe eating it is so vivid. The wrapper is stuck to the cone because of the melting, so they have to tear it apart. It's messy.
my mouth, my nose, my hands were all covered in chocolate. A chaotic sensory experience.
But then the narrator stops the story. And this is the part that I think elevates this text from a funny memoir to something really, really touching.
Moment.
The narrator rating as an adult looks back and asks, was the happiness because the ice cream was delicious?
And the answer is no.
What does the narrator realize?
They realize that the core of the memory isn't the sugar. It's the audience. It's the parents.
The parents are just sitting there watching.
Exactly. The father who drove the tractor in the heat. The mother who rushed the melting package into the freezer. They are sitting at the kitchen table watching their 4-year-old struggle with this messy, deformed cone.
And the narrator realizes the joy came from that shared connection.
That's it.
The quote that hit me was, "I love you family more than I love ice cream."
Which, as we've established, is a massive statement coming from this kid. But it validates the effort. The flavor of the ice cream wasn't chocolate. The flavor was the effort the father took to bring it home.
It recontextualizes the whole tractor logistics part. The father wasn't just hauling supplies.
He was hauling a melting potential for happiness.
And the fact that it was melted, in a way, that proved the love.
That's a beautiful point. If he had pulled a pristine, perfect ice cream out of a magic hat, it wouldn't have carried the same weight.
The deformation of the cone was the physical evidence of the journey.
It proved how hard he tried to get it there before it just dissolved.
It's the imperfection that makes it real.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I think that contrasts so sharply with the school story. In the canteen, the ice cream was a source of stress. It was about Badava and status and who owes what to whom.
It was transactional.
But in the kitchen,
Yeah.
with the melted cornet, it was relational. It was just pure belonging.
It really shows that a child's world is defined by these systems. You have the health system with the warm water, which is scary but protective.
Right.
You have the social system of the canteen, which is ruthless. And you have the family system, which is built on these quiet acts of service.
And the common thread through all of them is the object. The ice cream is the totem. It's the thing you desire, the thing you gamble with, and the thing that tells you that you are safe.
I wonder if the parents knew. Do you think they knew that the lukewarm water rule would be remembered 40 years later?
I doubt it.
Or that the melted tractor ice cream would be a core memory?
That's the thing about parenting, isn't it? You're just trying to get through the day. You're trying to prevent tonsillitis. You're trying to get the cheese to market. You don't realize that you are building the mythology of your child's life.
Mythology is the right word. The lukewarm water feels like a mythic challenge. The Badava feels like a trial by fire.
And the tractor ride is the hero's journey.
It makes you look at the snack aisle differently. We see products, price tags, calories.
But for a kid, that aisle is full of potential leverage, potential status, and potential love. It's never just food.
It's always currency. So if we take a step back and look at 21 Don Durma, as a whole, what's the big takeaway for our listeners? Why does a story about a Turkish mountain village resonate with us?
I think it resonates because it captures the intensity of childhood. When you are small, the stakes are incredibly high. A rule about drinking water feels like a violation of your rights. A wait until mid-April feels like a prison sentence.
And a melted treat feels like the greatest gift in human history. It's about scale.
It is. And it's about realizing that our parents were operating behind the scenes in ways we couldn't see. The narrator didn't see the father sweating on the tractor. They just saw the ice cream. This memoir is the adult mind finally catching up to the reality of the parents' labor.
It's a thank you note.
A thank you note disguised as a funny story about food.
I have to ask you before we wrap up. Hearing about the warm water rule
I knew you were going to ask this.
doesn't make you want to try it. Just once. Eat a Magnum and chase it with a glass of lukewarm tap water.
Intellectually, I get the logic. Thermally, it makes sense, but emotionally, it feels like a crime. I think I'm with the narrator on this one.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the tonsillectomy.
I think I'm with you, although it might be an interesting experiment. If any of our listeners are brave enough to try the Sivas method of ice cream consumption, let us know.
We take no responsibility for the disappointment that may ensue.
None at all. But really, this deep dive has been a reminder to look for the melted cornets in our own lives, the things that weren't perfect but were special because of how they got there.
And to appreciate the sponsors who made them happen.
Exactly. Well, that brings us to the end of our journey through 21 Don Durma. We've gone from the strict laws of the household to the chaos of the playground and back to the warmth of the kitchen.
It's been a treat.
Pun intended.
Not intended.
And now we want to turn this over to you. We've been talking about ice cream as a currency of love. So here is our question for you to mull over today. What is the specific food item from your childhood that wasn't just a snack, but a currency?
What was the item that required a parent to facilitate? Was it a specific soda? A fast food meal. A type of candy you couldn't buy yourself.
And more importantly, what were the rules attached to it? Did you have to do chores? Did you have to share with a sibling? Did you have to drink warm water?
Think about the gatekeepers in your life and what keys you needed to turn to get the prize.
Think about it. And hey, maybe if your parents are still around, give them a call. Ask them about the tractor rides they took for you, whatever form those took. Thanks for listening to the deep dive. We'll see you next time.